Hi, I'm Rabbi Johanna Hershenson. Welcome to Words of Torah. This week we are in the portion called Vayishlach. Jacob has spent time in the home of Laban. He has married twice and acquired a few concubines, had lots of sons, a daughter, and he is returning to his homeland, and just before confronting his brother Esau, from whom he stole birthright, blessing, and inheritance, has a rough night's sleep. And in this night's sleep, we are presented with the beautiful narrative of Jacob wrestling with an angel. In fact, when Jacob emerges from this wrestling match and asks for a blessing before returning to his life, the response he receives in Torah is, "You have wrestled with divine and human beings and triumphed." You have wrestled with divine and human beings and have triumphed. And of course, the name being explained in this blessing is the name Yisrael, Israel, given to Jacob, given to the Jewish people via Jacob. And this is something that I've always identified with. It's resonated deeply in me. I think of myself as rebellious by nature, and I see that part of being connected with the divine, if you're going to have intellectual integrity, requires struggling. I think being connected to humanity on the most intimate level, to our lovers and partners in life, our children, our parents, our siblings, to friends, to neighbors, to other Americans, to other human beings, right? This connection requires wrestling. We have inherited patterns of engagement in which ancestors did the best with what they had at the time, and there were problems. We had blind spots. Wrestling with divine and human beings and triumphing seems to me to be the ultimate self-realization, to borrow a word from another culture and faith tradition. The rabbis say in the Talmud that in exploring the idea of strength and how we wrestle with beings divine and human, give us a beautiful image of a reed, maybe by a creek or in a swamp, compared to the cedar tree. The reed, which is a humble plant, grows in the water, replenishing its roots, which are many. And no matter how hard the wind blows or from which direction, the reed is not blown from its place. It simply bends away from the wind. By comparison, the cedar, which is a high and prideful tree, stands tall against the winds of the world, except for the south wind. When that wind blows, it can uproot the cedar and turn it upside down. Boy, we Americans have wrestled in the past year, wrestled in the past 5 years, 10 years, right? Some of us wrestled from the presidential election in 2016, and now the tables are turned and we're wrestling again. Some of us have wrestled with COVID, with the pandemic. Let's not forget the damage of wildfire this season in the state of Oregon, right? And the rabbis give us this message, be like the reed, not the cedar. The cedar that fights all the wind, that fights, stands tall and prideful against the winds. By the south wind can be smacked down and uprooted, but the reed just bends, it bends. It draws from many roots. What are the many roots from which we draw? I hope our loved ones. I hope our sense of community, wisdom and perspective as we age, good nourishment, self-care, diet, exercise, fresh air. The winds come and go, and we blow with them. But when we're lucky enough to have varied sources of nourishment, we thrive, and we see good things do happen, even in chaotic times. What a wonderful message from our Torah portion. What a wonderful badge of honor to wear, that of the name Yisrael, one who wrestles with beings divine and human and triumphs. See you next week.